All right, Dr. Monday, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you being the first guest on the show here.
Love it. I'm honored. I mean, truly, thank you for reaching out and asking.
Yeah, of course. I read your bio and I thought I had to talk to you. Super interesting. So I know you have a PhD in international business
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you were in the Air Force, so thank you for your service.
Yes. Yes,
And
I
then,
was.
yeah, no. So,
I have a very eclectic background. That's how people like to describe it.
yeah, I think of it as like you're clearly a gifted manifester, right? Like someone who can set their mind to something and make it happen. Like that much is abundantly clear from your bio.
I I I, I think it's more for the military aspect. Every generation of my family has served in the military. I
Okay.
am one of six kids. I am when I was 20, I had started college. I was a manager full time at Ulta. So when I wasn't working, I was at school.
Hmm.
And my boyfriend just broke up with me. And I was like, well, I know this is something in my soul I need to do. And so I'm going to do it. So
Well,
I, uh,
it's a good thing to do for sure.
I went, I did it. Yeah.
Did you go anywhere interesting while you were in the Air Force?
Yeah. I lived in Germany.
Nice.
Yeah. So I lived in
Here it's
Germany.
wonderful.
Yeah. Absolutely wonderful. It just, Europe in general is just wonderful. I think it really teaches you to respect and understand the differences between humans and the patience between humans and culture in the culture.
I'm sure we could have a whole long talk about the
100%.
architecture and how, yeah, like there's so much art and beauty just
Mm-hmm.
everywhere in Europe and how everyone
Yes.
speaks multiple languages. And as Americans, we have a tenuous grasp on English. We could have a whole discussion on that for sure. God, still have not made it to Europe, but someday I'm going to get over there for sure.
Highly recommend.
I really want to. So I have your Amazon author profile pulled up here.
Okay.
And I'm astonished. So, Dance in the Devil's Arms came out recently, like just a couple months back.
Yes.
But your sequel is coming out in just a couple months here.
Yes.
So, did you write the two in tandem, or are you just like a very fast, prolific? I mean, when you just sit down writing, it just flows.
I wrote the first book in 6 weeks.
No
Um,
kidding.
I wrote the first book earlier this year. The second book took me 2 months to write. I'm writing the third right now. Um, I've written my whole entire life. I didn't. I There's a whole backstory as to why it took me so long to actually sit down and write. My best friend, this year in January, we were in Key West, and she just said, "When are you going to finally write your book?" On the flight home, Miami to Seattle, I wrote the first 40 pages, and A Dance in the Devil's Arms was born over the next
No
six
kidding.
weeks. Yeah, I just it's I did not plan on writing a romance novel or
Mhm.
romance series. I'm a very emotional writer, and that has I know you've seen a lot of the feedback from a lot of the book talkers.
Absolutely.
It's not just a romance novel. There is a plot. There is a lot of emotion in the books. Um, so it's I think it's the history, my history, um, the way I feel about life and humans and the soul, and coming forth, because all books are about, the books in total will be about the seven deadly sins.
Mhm.
The first book is about pride. The second book is wrath. And I am a person that likes to self-reflect, a person that, like your books, genuinely likes to look and find the silver lining in everything and the moral, and understand why we are where we are at a point in time in our life.
Absolutely.
And and so that really is the overall arc of the books, and how every day we battle each of the seven deadly sins and how they impact our lives and who we are as humans.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you if you're going to do all seven because I saw the next one is Wrath, first one is
Mm-hmm.
Pride, and I was like, I have a feeling there's going to be seven of them.
There will be seven. Yeah,
That is
the
very exciting. The
oh,
reviews, you actually got another review since I looked an hour ago. I mean, your
oh
book,
really?
yeah, yeah, you were at 23 an hour ago.
Okay.
Now you're at 24. I know Amazon, it seems like they're not very fast. I don't know. People will be like,
I
I
know.
just wrote the review, and then 3 days later, I'm like, I swear you're telling me the truth, but yeah, Amazon, they kind of drag their
Yeah.
feet. They're like, when we get to it. But that is very exciting. You've got definitely some momentum. I can tell from the feedback that like there are layers to the story. There's
Mhm.
introspection, reflection. There's a philosophical, I'm going to call it philosophical element. Um, that's, I think, the key to longevity. I have this theory because I write in philosophical fiction. I have this theory that all great literary works are philosophical fiction. Like the reason these stories have existed for as long as they have is because there's more than just a story. There's something that's fundamentally true about the human experience or human nature. And those layers are what really give these books, like reading it once isn't enough.
Mhm.
You circle back to it. There's more to be discovered every time you open the pages. So I have that impression about your first book for sure. How do you feel about the second? I mean, same caliber, like
So the beta readers, the editor who edited the first, all of them say the second book is better than the first. That
no
is
kidding.
their word. Yeah, I wrote the first one is in first person perspective from FMC. Um, the second book is multiple third person point perspective.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, is it
and
the
that was very
same characters or like what do
no.
they have held in common except just the seven deadly sins?
All of them would take place in East Side, Washington.
Okay.
So we're in the valley. So it's east side of Seattle. So
Okay.
all of them are in the same small town of East Side, Washington. And so the characters will intertwine and connect.
Interesting. So, how long have you run around with this story specifically, or did it just kind of come to you and just the creativity's flowing and you're like, oh my God, the pieces are coming together as I'm doing this and it's all there, but I'm discovering it.
The pieces came together literally this year. As like
Okay.
I don't have every single I know a baseline for every single one of the books, but I don't have all of the books like thought out. I am not a I don't like timeline or plan anything. I literally today, as
Right.
I was writing, just like was like, oh, I should probably like just make sure my timelines match up for this book.
Get these details
Make sure that
coordinated.
detail. Because I don't. Like I said, I am an emotional writer. I have to see it in my head to be able to write it into the
Mhm.
detail to see how that character's emotion would look, how a face would look, how I would react, how you would reach out. Like if someone's being snarky, how that would look, how that would come across, how
Right.
someone would react to that, how that character, how that would feel. So I try to play it in my head. So that's why I can't sit there and plan it out in
In kind of
advance.
like movie format almost, as it
Yeah.
were.
So I
Yeah.
do it. Yeah. So I do
Oh,
it as I go.
that is incredibly exciting. Yeah, I am astonished by the feedback. I mean, there's a lot of good things going on here. I'm gonna pick it up one of these days and get to it. But I knew I had to like talk to you about this book. So
Thank you.
so you were saying you've had this kind of writing dream for a long time, kind of put it in
Yeah,
the back.
I won awards. I won awards in college and
Nice.
school. Yeah, and then when I was in the military, it just like kind of went away. And then I had my children, and um, I had a previous life that it just wasn't honed. And so as soon as when I left my previous life, I was writing, and I actually wrote a book, um, like several hundred pages. That is not like that book will never. It's literally sitting printed on my bookshelf at home. That is not this book. That book will never be published.
It's
But
too personal or just wasn't up to
it's,
standard or
I think it's too personal. It's too emotional. It's too raw. I looked at it while I was writing A Dance in the Devil's Arms just to see if there was anything,
Mhm.
and it, I could just, it really just tore at me, and I was like, no, like, no,
Yeah.
um, put it away. Um, but yeah, and I've started things. I mean, my computer is full of like one pages.
I got a
So,
few of those, yeah, like false starts, right?
you're like, yeah, this is great. And I think it was more of over the past like 13 years. I went back and finished, which I things I didn't get to do when I was in my first marriage, like finish college, which
Mhm.
I've done in the past 13 years. And then I did my MBA, and then I did my PhD. And so, I was writing, I just wasn't writing, you know,
Creative. Yeah.
creatively. Yeah. And like I said, I didn't start, uh, I mean, any, like my business manager, my best friend Romy, who the first book is dedicated to, they'll be like, yeah, nope, did not expect a romance novel. Nope. And I mean, I didn't either. So, but here we are. And
That's just what came onto the
it
paper
just,
and
yeah,
flowed
just,
through the hands, right?
yeah, it just, I was like, well, yep, here we are. And that's what happened.
Oh, I love it. I had like a writing dream for 10 years I was running around with. And then when I finally sat down to do it, it felt like, oh, I should have been doing this years ago. But I feel like
Mm-hmm.
timing, no one's ever early or late anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like things just happen. And clearly, I mean, if like you got the first book out so quick, second book out on the way, even better than the first, you know what I mean? It's the timing was perfect, even if it feels like, I kind of, I don't know, there was something you were waiting for, but clearly you had everything you needed when you actually sat down to do the thing. So
Yeah. I don't think it would have been, I don't think the stories would have been what they are. And if I had tried before, I mean, they would
different,
have been different, right? It would have been
not enough
different.
experience, or I mean,
Yeah.
something, right? There's something you developed within your own understanding of the world and life and yourself that you can bring forth
Mm-hmm.
now that maybe you couldn't 20 years ago or something.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, everything happens for a reason when it's supposed to happen. And,
I think so. I'm
yeah,
getting better at that because I'm an incredibly impatient person and nothing happens quick enough, and I want everything on my schedule. And I'm learning that you got to go with the flow of the river and stop swimming against the thing. Like things
yeah,
happen when they're going to happen, and it works out the way it's going to work
yeah.
out.
I mean, I just keep pushing the snowball up the mountain and someday it's going to hit that peak and then it'll go downhill from there. And so it'll be great. But yeah, I mean, I think the beauty of it is that it's really taught me to believe and listen to what people are saying.
Hmm.
Because I mean, I mean, I do read every review, so I'll have to go and read that review
Yeah, the
review
new one, like, oh,
and the
what
new
is
one.
that?
What's someone say? But I do because I like constructive criticism. I like to hear what people have to say. I'm waiting for the 1-star review to understand why someone doesn't like it. But it's humbling. It's
Hmm.
been really humbling. Like when people talk about my writing, because I'm like, they're like, just, and I'm like, I just write, I just
Right.
type. And it's just that they love it, and it's just, yeah,
It's a
it's,
profoundly good feeling when you get a good
yeah,
review. I will tell you, more likely than not, your first bad review will be something silly, and that is so. And I'm learning to get over it. Like I had a 3-star review the other day that was like, I enjoyed the story, but I don't believe in God. 3 stars, and I'm like that sounds like a personal problem, man. But
because
so
of because of their personal belief, they they
yes, they're
they
like,
they
yeah,
docked you 2 stars.
I enjoyed the story, but I'm not religious, so like I'm like you could have just not left a review too. That would have been totally cool. But so hopefully, because someday you will get a bad review
Yeah,
because it's bound to happen. But hopefully, it is something that makes you can baptize it to be the best writer possible. That's the vision, right?
yeah.
Any criticism is like, okay, it's warranted, and now I see a path to improve my craft even more.
Well, yeah. I mean, I mean, but like I said, I like constructive criticism. Like, so if you want to give me a bad review, I mean, please like provide like something that I can work on
Right.
with
Give me something
it.
I can work with to hone my craft, right?
Like, yeah, I mean, like something that's going to impactful. And, like I think I, that makes me sad that somebody gave you a 3-star review because they're not religious. Like, I'm
Well, I
sorry.
know.
I'm like,
No, but
that's
and you
okay.
people are silly. Be like, oh, this book is too long, and then the next guy, this book is too short. And I'm like, you cannot be everyone's cup of tea. And that's
That's
just the
true.
reality of the thing.
It's
But
true. It's
I
true.
apologize. I got two screens. So if I keep looking over this way,
No, no, you're fine.
I want to ask you about the book specifically, Dance
Okay.
with the Devil's Arms. What was the hardest part about writing the story? Or
Um,
getting it from an idea to a published book? What was the hardest piece?
I think for me the hardest piece was believing I when the moment I finished that last sentence, the
Mm,
last page, last sentence, there, like, having never like done it right, like it is the most rewarding thing in the entire world. It's like giving birth. I know someone might like shun me for saying that, but it is a part of your soul to put
yeah.
yourself on paper.
I was thinking about really quick, just J.K. Rowling in the Harry Potter books. The first Horcrux we see is a book, And
Hmm.
I like understood that at a deep level because like you literally give a piece of yourself that you are never getting back. And I
Yep.
was like, J.K. Rowling, I see you. I know exactly what you're saying right here. Yeah.
It is a part of you. It is a part of who you are. It is not a simple matter to write a book. Only like I think it's like 0.08% of the population write a book.
Right. But how many
Um,
people have you talked to who are like, oh, I've always wanted to do that. Oh, I always had a dream. I have a
people ask
story
me all the time.
all the
Like
time.
now, I mean, I think like like so much of our valley where we live, we have one bar, we're a one stoplight town,
Nice.
and literally like this older gentleman he's like 75-year-old biker,
Hmm.
bought the book, read it in a day because he loved it so much. He loved it so much that he has now passed it around to everybody because he talks about it. Like, so my bot, my business manager is like, I just want to give him a QR code so that he can have people scan it and then it goes to Amazon.
Right.
And
Just directly.
yeah,
Right.
directly. And that way they can buy it. But she wants the second one. And she's like, no, we can, because he's going to give it to people. And I'm like,
He's going to give it away for free to everybody.
yeah. I'm like, oh, but it is a part of your soul and it's a part of your being. And to like, with that being, and it is circular with my answer is the moment that was done and you're excited and you're like, okay, like I need to like, what's the next step? What do I do? And obviously,
Redirect. Yeah.
I mean, you reread it and everything and you have to edit, but is it really before you start going down that like rabbit hole? Like, I need somebody to read it. Like,
Right.
is this worthy? Is this even, or is this crap? Right? Like, is this worth what I'm about to do?
Right.
And so I picked 10 people, and I'm a very astute when it comes to my group of friends. Like,
Hmm.
I'm very like peculiar and just they're all very honest people. They're not people that like will be like, oh no, it's fine. Like they will be like, no, like absolutely
Nope,
not.
can't do it. Can't do this.
No, that
Yeah.
those are yeah, they're um to like and to it they were just like yes, 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 yes.
Like, do
Like
it. Get it. This is
do it.
good. Get this
Yes.
out here. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it was I mean, I was just like, okay. And here we are. But that was the scariest part for me was to like let it free and waiting for that feedback and waiting to see what people would say because it was the first time I was putting myself out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was scarier than like, launch day.
Right. Right.
I was like, okay, well, I mean, I had a meltdown like beforehand. I was like, I can't do it, but like, but you know,
No, but it is interesting because, like, I'm sure in your book, like, especially if you brought so much of yourself to it, it's like anyone who reads it is going to know you better than you will ever know them. And that is a very vulnerable, takes a lot of courage because, like, two horrifying scenarios with your book. One is no one reads it after all your work, and
mm-hmm.
another is that a lot of people read it. And you're like, either way, I mean, you just kind of, right at first, you're like, I'm gonna go hide in a hole for a little bit.
Well,
You're
yeah,
like,
people are like, um, it's when they read it that know me, they're like, it reads how you talk. So
interesting.
it's like, I'm totally like, great. Like,
Yeah,
thank
no,
you.
it means you hit the mark, right? Because like
Yeah.
I didn't realize how difficult writing is for like sometimes you read other people's stuff. I mean, it's not something that comes naturally to most to like, hey, how do I
No.
really say exactly what I want to say here?
Yeah.
Um, Harder to do than than maybe even a lot of writers may realize,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really like while I was listening, I was working out. I did two workout sessions. I was running on the treadmill listening to your audiobook this
Nice.
past weekend.
I
And
appreciate it, by the way.
no, yeah, thank you for that. I was it was really, really, really great. And I think everyone should listen to it because
Well, I
I've
appreciate
never seen that person. It's a really great perspective. I really did love the not naming your soldier, by the way. That was brilliant. Um, for a multitude of reasons, not just because it's not like we're all them. It's more of just the fact that it's he couldn't own who he was in himself.
that. Ooh,
And when you can't own who you are, you can't identify anything about yourself that you
I
love.
gotta tell you really quick, you have been very much inspiring me lately. So, and I had a whole backstory, but I won't get into it too much. But for example, you as a writer, very,
Mhm.
very good writer, to listen to any of my stuff or read any of my stuff and be like, hey, this has me thinking. This has
Mhm.
me, the creative juices flowing, or I'm moving, I'm thinking about things in a new way. I can't think of a higher honor. So I really appreciate all the feedback you've given me. That's been really, really huge. That's a very tremendously powerful feeling. So
Well, thank you.
thank you for all your feedback so far.
Oh God, of course. I mean, you also helped me because we are doing an audiobook for Dance in the Devil's Arms.
Nice.
We like to keep things local
Yes.
and where I'm doing. And so we actually had our meeting, one of our meetings yesterday, and then we have another one this coming week.
Hmm.
And my voice talent and the producer was like, well, do you want to like act it out? And with Savannah being in Texas and then, California and then Washington, like, her accent fades. And I was like, no, no, I just want her to read the book. I don't want accents. I don't want her trying to do a man's voice. Like, I was like,
Right.
I just wanted to read the book. And the producer was like, well, do you want like when Michael's in the room, like, and she's like not talking to him, like to a breath. And I was like, no, I just want her to read the book.
No, that's
Just,
great advice. So actually, the gentleman who did my book, he wanted to do like a German accent, and I
yeah,
told him like no, like, and in my mind, I'm like, people want to connect. It's got to be natural. It's got to be authentic. It's got
yeah.
to like it cannot feel forced, right? So I think that's very good judgment that like, hey, just read the story, just
Yeah, because it's
read.
not a live action, right? Like we're not doing live action. We're not doing the radio action like read that, are big right now with like Fourth Wing
Yeah.
and Akatar and everything. So like we're not like, we're not there and all that sense. But like I just like, I really think that Heather, who's doing the reading for my book, she has a beautiful voice. She has a really good, I'm not even going to try to use the right words. I'm not good at understanding like the ranges and the right things, but
Yeah, inflections and those
yeah,
kind of
I'm like,
like
nope, that's not my skill set. So, but she's very good at that. She has the right tone. And so
almost
I'm like,
like a actress as well, right? Like
mm-hmm.
she can just kind of embody the characters and it just comes through in the voice.
Wow. Where
Yeah.
it's me, like everyone, some people are like, well, why aren't you reading it? I'm like, I've moved 39 times in my life. My voice and my accent comes out very randomly where I'm at, like just in general, how I pronounce things. I can't say roof. Like, I mean, so I don't,
Is
I,
that
and
Texas right there, really?
yeah, I'm from Texas.
Texas,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like I went to high school in Texas. My mom still lives and family still lives in Texas.
Yeah.
I was, born in Maryland. I've lived all over. So, I mean, but but like I do have a very weird way. And then when I see like my TikToks, I'm like, my voice is very pitchy and it changes. And I'm not a fan of my voice. So no, I'm not, absolutely not reading my book.
I
Even though
tried to do one of mine and I was like, all right, I didn't need a nasal strip. Like all I hear is like, I'm like, I need something. This is not good. So I
yeah,
was like, I'm gonna contract this out. And
yeah,
yeah, no,
100%,
it was the right.
100%. Yeah.
But we
I mean,
still
I'm
we're good at it.
doing it. I mean, I'm reading my book. I'm reading 3 paragraphs of the prologue today
That's a good thing to do.
at 6 o'clock because there was an ask, and
Okay.
I did a vote, and I was like, fine, because during we did a live with Crystal, you've
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
last weekend, and somebody asked it, and my business manager got on, and she took the book, and she goes, "Made in the USA," and closed,
You're like, okay, that's what we got. Right?
and everyone was like,
Give us a little more. Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, would you like me to read the 3 paragraphs of the prologue or 3 paragraphs of the first chapter? And so they did a vote. And so I will be doing a live today. So we'll see.
Well,
We'll see.
I love that because I was thinking about this. I was like, like you might be the next Colleen Hoover or, just throwing out someone who's wildly successful. Not
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to write the same things, but right now, us indie authors, we're very accessible. Like if I wanted to reach Stephen King, I have no idea how I'd go about that. But the fact that like right now someone can absolutely love your book and they can like get you to read a couple
Mm-hmm.
paragraphs, they can like get you to reply to something. Um, the indie author thing is very cool, I think.
And I think that's why I like it so much, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that was I have a very good friend who actually is a best-selling author now. Her book released on October 8th.
Nice.
And she also wrote a nonfiction book.
Okay.
but she's brilliant. She's a brilliant professor.
Hmm.
And I'll send you her link later. But but I talked to her, but she also knew an author who was published, was in romance and stuff. And like, so I was getting like the counterweights of balances of like smaller publishers, big publishers from what she was doing to like indie. And then I talked to an indie author, like, when I decided to do, and obviously I queried, you know, publishers, book,
Agents, the whole
agents and stuff.
right.
And I sat back and I was like, I think mine is different. I'm in a different niche. I'm in a
Yeah.
different niche because there's such a like paranormal supernatural element in there on top of like a romance realism. Like it's all in
Very,
like,
yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, well, no, I really don't. I really, and I want to control it. I want to control, like I want to control like being able to talk to people, how I do it and engaging in it. And honestly, like the result of, I love it more because I've been able to like build this community
Right.
with it. It's organically grown. Like my business manager, I don't know if you've seen her. She has the blue hair, Lady Au Pair. I probably tag her and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
She ends up like, she's like, I have latched myself onto this because I believe in this.
Nice.
Um, she's like, I'm pitching my wagon to yours. I was like, okay. But like, and then like the producer, like all these, like this community is building and supporting around it, because they believe in it. And it's
Right.
interesting, it's fascinating. And I mean, even like my merch guy is a friend from high school
No
who
kidding.
who reached out because his side hustle with his wife is making merch, and they loved Dance in the Devil's Arms, like cover so much. He's like, can I please make a t-shirt? And now
Wow.
he's like making magnets, making bookmarks, I mean, like Casey, like he sent like Casey, like the stickers and all these things and
Yeah.
koozies. And I mean, like, it's just, it's blowing up to the point now, like there's a dashboard being made that'll loop into my website so that people can go buy the merch and he just ships it. Like it's,
That's when like the book has an entire life of its own. I mean, it is
yeah,
like a child, right? You put it out in the
yeah,
world and now it's like growing and I don't know,
yeah,
it's got this whole network in and of itself.
yeah,
That's an amazing thing. That is an
yeah.
amazing
But
thing.
I know I just need to like, follow like the keeping the juju that you're doing. And I mean, like you're getting a billboard in Times Square, which is
That
really
was
exciting.
through a contest, but as a marketer, which makes me highly uncomfortable because I love writing, but I'm like, okay, I got to stop writing and I got to become a marketer for a little bit. So that's one of these things, right? You're like, oh, you wear a lot of hats as an indie author.
Yeah, you
Like, oh,
do,
I'm writer,
but you
I'm
learn a
editor,
lot.
I'm publisher, I'm marketer. But yeah, it was through a contest I submitted the book to, and then winning, they're like, hey, special invitation. I'm like, I can't say no to that. And
No,
I
you
don't know
can't.
if it leads to anything. Maybe it depends on what's in the news. If there's something significant, they might, the whole world might look at that billboard on TV and be like, oh, hey, there's the thing. But
I think it's
yeah,
cool.
it's a
I
cool
think
thing.
it's
It feels like a big step in the right direction. So I think we're both doing good things here.
yeah.
What is your favorite part of the story? If you can narrow it down to
I can't get into specifically the specifics.
no spoilers, of
No,
course.
I can't spoil it because it is the ending,
Okay.
and I know that's a touch point for people, but I like the ending. And I like the ending because there is a piece of music that I listened to
Hmm.
well, when it came to me how I was going to end it, and it was because my mother-in-law had passed away.
Hmm.
She was very very sick last year. She had a very rare disease, um, and it was like just very hard on the family. And when we were in Sedona and doing her celebration of life, my sister-in-law and I were messaging like the night before, and just because it was like, like we're trying to support our husbands, but like support each other. And um, I was in the shower and this song came on, and I just broke down in the shower, but and cried. But as I got out, like the ending came to me,
Hmm.
and and I and I to this day feel like Judy gave me that ending, so that's why.
That's like transmutation, right? Like
Well,
anything bad or difficult, and somehow you can like filter it into something beautiful. That's a difficult art, but it's an amazing thing about being an artist, right? So you can
So
take something that's difficult and try to make something that's good out of it. But yeah, I won't ask you for spoilers because obviously people need to go read the book and find out for themselves. But I love the cover too. Who designed the cover?
it's Lady Eliza. She is on. I will tag you into one of her posts on Instagram.
Interesting.
She's in Eastern Europe. Yeah. So I did, what is it, like 99? Let me click on it real quick. 99 designs. I did a competition. I had about, I had like hundreds, like literally hundreds of submissions
No
uh,
kidding.
within like, I did like a 10-day event. But within like 2 days, I had hundreds because originally like people were just popping them out, right? Like they're putting it, and I said, you put your briefs together, and I was like,
Right.
this is not, the title is not literal, but people did. They just did a
Like,
woman
well,
dancing with a
makes me
devil.
think, yeah, it's like, that's what it sounds
Okay,
like.
yeah,
Doing a
and
tango with Satan.
yeah, 100%. I was
Not
like,
quite what I had
yeah,
in mind.
decline.
Quite.
But then we had some really beautiful ones. But I was sitting at my desk and it popped up, and hers popped up, and I knew, and I canceled everything right there,
You're
and
like, hey, this is the one, and
that's
I
the
don't need to
one.
see anything else. Like,
No,
this is the
no, and
one.
so she did the second one too, and she will do,
Yeah, I'm
and
looking at
I will.
both, and they are lovely. I mean, I love the colors, I love the look. Everything about it makes me want to like open this book and figure out what the hell's in there.
Yeah, she's so talented. She loves doing book covers.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's a whole, and the book covers are planned. The not the design,
Mhm.
but the color scheme is planned. Is
Okay.
how that will go.
So did you start building this? Because it seems like you have a tremendous network. Did you start building this? Like some of it seems like throughout your life, right? Like someone from high school but it also seems like you've met a lot of people in a very short amount of time who are like, they all have like some very specific things they're very good at.
So my husband is a video game developer.
Okay.
So our community is very well connected.
Right.
My business manager is her husband is in the gaming community. She's a gamer. She's actually a very well known gamer.
Interesting.
So she, yeah. So I am not. That is not my skill set. But So we are all talented in different ways.
Hmm.
And then like the producer, he is he's in like sound engineering for a company, and he lives in our town, and we literally live in a town where people do just randomly meet and become friends. And
Interesting.
it is a genuine, like we're genuinely friends, like a group of friends that have just support each other in what we do.
I feel like people are craving that. They're like longing for that kind of small town feel or just like knowing your neighbors. I mean, most people
Yeah,
like they know maybe the people left and right, but not two houses down and
yeah.
just
No, and
reconnect and have a community.
it's genuinely why I wrote about why I turned where I lived into East Side, because it is the first time in my life I have ever lived somewhere that I know my neighbors. I know we live on a lake where we live,
Okay.
and I know a good amount of everyone on the lake.
Right.
They know who I am. They know my husband. Well, they know my husband more than me because my husband is very he's very involved. And But in town too, like we're like we go out, we talk to people, we're friends. We if we're not friends with them, we're acquaintances.
Yeah.
Everybody typically knows everybody. People are willing to help out with people. It is genuinely a good just community. I mean, it's not perfect. I mean, obviously there's always issues everywhere, but like
Right.
I mean, I am just humbled by the people. I mean, there's there's people that have asked to be their names in the book, and they are like they're
Yeah.
named in the
Like,
book. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean,
no,
it's fun. It's fun.
it's lovely over there. So they moved, but I have family who, like my cousins grew up on Bainbridge and then they
Yeah.
moved to Paulsbo and then they were in Brewster for a while, like in the middle of the state. So I've got to spend a lot of time out there and it is not only just a lovely, beautiful area, but there are very good people and great coffee.
Hmm.
And both of those are very appreciated. Yeah. All three of those things are appreciated.
I love, yeah. So that, I mean, it's a Washington is a, I think it's just, I never expected to move back there.
Mm.
And it's funny because when I started writing the first book, not A Dance in the Devil's Arms, when I was writing, when I was 13 years ago, I actually had the book based in Seattle
Okay.
and
Interesting.
never like realizing that I would move back there. But yeah, um, and here we are.
But
So,
there's a lot of great art that comes out of there. Like my wife is
mhm.
crazy about Grey's Anatomy, and I love Nirvana, and I think Alice in Chains is from there too. But yeah, for some reason, just the Seattle area, a lot of artists. I don't know, a lot of cranks out a lot of beautiful, wonderful art and shows and
Well, it's a
books.
beautiful area, and there's a lot
Yeah.
of, I think like it is, not to interrupt it is very, I mean, the dark, like, it's cloudy, it snows, it, creates a lot of moods. Um, so there's that, and there's a lot of beauty. I mean, the evergreens, it's, when it snows, it's stunning, and the mountains, and so you have everything around you.
When I can see Rainier, that always like, I don't know, it makes me so disconcerted because I mean, it's this massive volcano and it's just right there, but it is just Washington has some of the most like stunning natural beauty of any of the
Hmm.
states for sure.
It's because it looks like it's floating in the dang sky, is why.
Yes,
You're just
it
like,
is insane.
what? Like, yeah,
Oh,
it's
well,
ridiculous.
sorry. I know Zoom is going to kick us out in just a minute here. So
Okay.
I want to make sure you get your plugs in for anyone who doesn't know you, which I'm hoping everyone watching the show knows you, but I'm
Yeah.
hoping to get new people along the way. So where should
Yeah.
people look for you, find you, connect with you, anything you want to say?
Yeah. Just, you can find me on TikTok or Instagram under The Real Dr. Monday, or you can find the books at Amazon at Dr. Sarah Monday. And I really hope you check it out. I, I mean, please reach out with questions, and I love your feedback and thoughts. And I'm here to
And I would say
support.
email Dr. Monday while you can because her career is about to explode and she's going to get a lot of emails and it's going to be very hard to find her. Another thing I'll recommend, if you look at her book on Amazon, hit the follow button on her profile because she's getting these books out there and you want to be able to pre-order, be the first to check it out. So give her a follow and you'll be able to keep up with what she's doing. So
Yeah.
follow her everywhere.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate you being the first guest. You were kind of my guinea pig and
I love it.
but it was good. I felt like it was pretty, it was good. So
I like it.
it's cool to learn more about you. And I want to know like the minds that produce these art, right? Like what makes people tick.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the opportunity to like pick your brain a little bit, learn more about you and vision and, how this story came about and what's coming next. So we'll,
Well, I appreciate it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the time. I really
no, for sure.
enjoy talking to you.
Yeah, you too. And if you ever want to do this again, I'm gonna try to do one a week, but there might be like extra shows here and there. But we should definitely circle back on this and I'll hopefully have a better setup and green screen and yeah, a little more professional and stuff. So we'll get there.
I like it. I think it's great. I think what you're doing is great.
It's
I
a
mean,
jumping off point, right? You got to start somewhere. So this is an indie studio for an indie author, and it's also a
yeah, but
guest.
it's real, right? Like people want to see real. They don't need, you know,
I
the
completely
fake
right.
bougie, right? Like the
Yeah, the
fake.
whole fake set and all this.
No, I think
It's
that people,
authentic, even if it's a little clunky. So
I mean, some of the best things are people are just like, yep, here's where I'm at. I got a child flipping
got a
around.
kid, got a screaming baby, got cats behind me
Yeah.
cleaning themselves,
Cleaning themselves.
yeah, like just normal everyday stuff. So
Yeah. It's real. I like it.
all right, well,
It's
I will
exciting.
let you go, but yes, have fun on the East Coast with your
Thank
kids.
you.
And we will talk soon.
Yep. You have a wonderful day. Thank
You
you.
too.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Dr. Monday.
Thank you.